make your jumpsuit, you will need about 3 meters of lightweight muslin fabric. The width of my fabric was about 140 centimeters. You'll also need your fabric scissors or your rotary cutter, some pins, a measuring tape, some tailor's chalk or a pencil, and of course your sewing machine and some matching thread. To create the pattern for your jumpsuit, you will need a pair of non-stretchy straight leg pants that you like the fit of. Now fold your pants in half lengthwise, pinch them at the crotch seam to determine the shape of your pattern. Then you can lay your pants flat directly onto your pattern paper, or if you have some wrapping paper, that works fine as well. And first you are going to copy the front part of the pant, so you will fold it in half like this, and then you can start tracing the outline. I'm not going to add seam allowance at this point, I'm going to add it later onto my paper. Make sure you follow the seams as best as you can. So this is the front pattern for my pants. I'm going to mark it and then repeat the process for the back part. And for this I'm going to fold my pants lengthwise in half again, but the other way around, so I will be able to copy the pattern of the back of the pants. Okay, so now you have your two pieces of pattern, one for the front and one for the back, and we are going to extend them upwards since this is going to be a jumpsuit. I'm going to use some tape to add more paper to both pieces of my pattern, so we can extend it upwards. So first I'm going to draw a straight line across my pant pattern. This is the front piece, and I'm going to start with the line exactly where this crotch edge is. Then starting from that line, I am measuring upwards 51 centimeters and I am making a mark right there. And then I'm basically drawing a rectangle following the width of my pant pattern. From this point you are going to measure 11 centimeters since we want the bib to be 22 and this is the half of it. And then you measure downwards 17, make a mark right here, and then connect the 2 points, rounding this part up. Then you can cut it out, and this is the front piece of your jumpsuit pattern. And now we can move on to the back. First I'm doing the exact same thing and using some tape to add more paper to my pattern. This part is unfortunately out of frame, but I am just drawing the same straight line across, starting from the crotch of the pant. Then I'm measuring, starting from that line upwards, 51 centimeters, exactly like we did for the front part. Then add 3 centimeters on top of your 51 centimeters for the back piece. Since we have a booty that we need to accommodate, make sure you have those extra centimeters added. And then you can draw the rectangle just as you did for the front part. Then measure from this point 9 centimeters and make a mark. And then downwards 17, and then connect the 2 lines and round the shape up. Now you can cut out the back piece for your jumpsuit as well. I decided to use some scrap fabric, some old bed sheets actually, to make this jumpsuit before cutting my actual fabric, just to see how it fits and if I need to make some adjustments. And I recommend you do the same thing. If you have some scrap fabric or old bed sheets you can use. I ended up making some adjustments that you will see in a minute. Since we didn't add any seam allowance onto the paper pattern, you'll need to add it onto your fabric. But before doing that, I recommend you take a measuring tape and measure around the widest point. This is usually around your hips. And make sure you add as much seam allowance as you need around the crotch area, so around the hips, that you'll be able to pull your jumpsuit on and off. In my case, I decided to add 7 centimeters more for the front piece and for the back piece, so around 3 centimeters on each side. And around the other parts of the pattern, so around the lower leg area and around the bib part, I only added about 1 to 2 centimeters. Then you can cut your scrap fabric out. You'll need 2 pieces for the front and 2 for the back. Repeat the process of adding your seam allowance to the back as well. I only filmed the sewing instructions with the actual fabric, so I will leave a timestamp on the screen if you need those. And here's the jumpsuit with my scrap fabric. As you can see, the fit is not great. Also, keep in mind, I'm 20 weeks pregnant, so it might not look the same on you. A bit tight, so I'll have to loosen this part a little bit more. Also, I don't know what's going on in here. I'll have to adjust it. I also have some leggings underneath, so that might also be a problem. The back is actually not bad. So basically, as you can see, the jumpsuit was a bit tight around my hips, so I will be adding some more seam allowance right there. And also there's quite a bit of fabric around the crotch area, so I'm going to take it in a bit. This was my second attempt and I think it looked much better. I'm going to stick to this pattern and hope that it lays a bit nicer with the muslin fabric, since that fabric is a bit flowier than this stiff cotton fabric. And to make sure I get the same fit, I've decided to rip the seams open and use these pieces as my pattern for the actual jumpsuit. If you have enough fabric and you want this process to go a bit quicker, you can fold your fabric in half, then place your pattern piece on top, and this way you can cut out 2 pieces at once. If your fabric has a right side up or some pattern on it, just make sure you cut out those 2 pieces mirroring each other. Then repeat for the back pieces, and now you should have 2 front pieces and 2 back pieces that we are going to sew together. Place your front pieces together right sides facing each other and your back pieces together right sides facing each other as well, and sew them together right here, so basically from the middle of the bib part to the crotch. And now both of your pieces should have this seam running through the middle. Next, I'm going to hem the underarm by folding the fabric inwards twice, both on the front part and on the back part. And I'm going to sew it using a straight stitch. Then I am folding this top part of the bib. If this is not straight, you can go ahead and cut it straight across, it doesn't matter. And then you can fold it inwards twice like this. You can make it a bit thicker than the seam on the underarm if you want. And you'll have to do this for the front and for the back as well. I also wanted to add 3 pockets. One will be the big one that we are going to place on the chest. So for this you'll need to cut out a rectangle that is 20 by 20 centimeters. And I'm going to hem it all the way around, folding the fabric inwards twice, and the top part of the pocket I'm going to hem a bit wider. And then for the other 2 pockets that we are going to place on the legs, you'll need to cut out 2 rectangles that are approximately 17 by 17 centimeters. Then you can go ahead and hem these 2 pockets as well. And you'll end up having a bigger pocket and 2 smaller ones that look like this. Place your pocket in the middle of the chest. For this you can fold the pocket in half, determine the middle, and then make sure you align the middle of the pocket with the middle seam of your jumpsuit. And I placed it at about 8 centimeters from the top. Pin it in place, and then you can go ahead and sew it using a straight stitch. Then place the other 2 pockets lower on the legs. The bottom of the pockets is approximately where the crotch line would be if you would draw a straight line across. Now that the front part of your jumpsuit is all done, you can place the back piece on top, right sides facing each other, and sew the side seams. To be able to tie the shoulder straps to the front of your jumpsuit, you will need to create 2 loops, and for them you will need to cut out 2 rectangles that are about 6 by 15 centimeters. You are then going to fold them in half lengthwise like this, sew them using a straight stitch and turn them right side out. Pin them to the top of your jumpsuit on the inside and then sew them using a straight stitch. And now you'll need to cut out 2 longer strips of fabric that we are going to use for the shoulder straps. And these should be about 80 by 8 centimeters long. You'll need to fold them in half lengthwise as well, sew them using a straight stitch and then turning them right side out. Pin the straps to the back of your jumpsuit and sew them on. To tie your jumpsuit, you can just pull the straps through the loop and make a knot. You can leave your straps as long as you like or shorten them if you want. And the very last step to complete your jumpsuit is to hem the bottom of your pants. You can also roll them up if you prefer this look. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that you also loved the result. I think this jumpsuit is perfect for summer. If you want to be a bit more covered up but very comfortable, this fabric is super breathable and perfect for the hot weather. If you recreate this jumpsuit, make sure you tag me. If you have any questions, leave them down below and I'll try to answer all of them. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you in my next one. Thank you for watching. Bye.